Welcome to the Richard Sherman Podcast. Hit that sub button if you're new. We're here to give you great NFL content. Please tune in. And the Jags go to the Bears, who are playing really solid football now. They've been playing great defensively, but now it appears that Caleb Williams is starting to figure it out in a big way. He may be what he was supposed to be, Mitchell. They're finding more time. He's getting the ball out of his hands a lot faster than he was. They beat the Carolina Panthers, which we know teams have been able to do this year. But let's give him credit. He was 20 of 29, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, ran the ball for 34 yards. He was only sacked once. That's the big story. He was only sacked once. He's getting the ball out of his hands. In the 2 wins, he's had 71% completion percentage, 461 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. So if you're a Bears fan, this is encouraging. This is really encouraging. DJ Moore had a really great game, but you're seeing the things that the talent that everybody saw when he was coming out, and they were calling him a generational talent, be showcased now. You know, when he's able to be upright, when he's able to trust himself, trust his reads, get the ball out of his hands into his playmaker's hands, it's been really great.
And Richard, that's why he deserves the ovation of the day. Brought to you by our friends of the program, Ovation for Men. This week, the ovation is going to Caleb Williams. Balled out, looked like the number 1 pick, like everyone thought he would be. Got, like you said, everyone was getting involved. Roma Dunze, DJ Moore. I mean, we got to see a little bit more of Keenan Allen, but you got to like to see this as a Bears fan. They're above 500. The team's humming. DeAndre Swift, but congratulations to Caleb Williams, our ovation of the day, brought to you by our friends again at Ovation for Men. Ovation is our go-to cologne here at the Volume and the Richard Sherman Podcast. They celebrate the style, creativity, and excellence of deserving men. It's not just a fragrance, it's a statement. It's available exclusively at Amazon. Click the link below in the description to redeem a first-time buyer code of 15% discount. Again, that's a first-time buyer coupon for a 15% discount. Check them out, guys. They have a really good fragrance. Richard, let's take it to the Packers. They hold off the Rams. This will look like a trap game, right? I mean, you get Jordan Love's coming back. He's looking a little bit rusty, but getting better. They go to L.A., they get out early, and the Rams make it a game. Your thoughts about this team? I'm still not sold on the Packers. I still think they made a big mistake in moving off Aaron Jones and moving over to Josh Jacobs. I'm still not sold. Where's your head at with this team right now?
Well, they're winning ball games, Mitchell, and that's what it's about. And they're winning games they're supposed to win, and there's something to be said for that. We just saw the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers not get that done, not win games they were supposed to win. Jordan Love's coming back from the injury, playing relatively well. You know, even with all things considered, he was 15 of 26, 224, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Josh Jacobs is playing solid. I think Aaron Jones, like you said, was a better fit, but he did well. 19 carries for 73 yards, some crucial first downs. He had a touchdown. I think there's going to end up being 3 teams represented in the playoffs from the NFC North. And deservedly so. These teams are playing well. I mean, Minnesota's the most unexpected team, and they're at the top of the division. Your Detroit Lions are expected to be contenders. The Packers expected to be contenders, and they're showing up the way they should.
Oh, you look at another team that's turning into a big contender right in front of our eyes. It's the Washington Commanders. We talked about it in our season preview. If Jayden Daniels can come in here and take this team like C.J. Stroud did with Houston, Washington's got all the personnel to be a problem. They are a problem. Richard, they beat the Browns 34-13. This game was never in doubt. Before we get into Jayden Daniels, I want to talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson, because this Cleveland Brown team looks so out of sorts. They look so dysfunctional out there, and I think it starts at the quarterback position. If you're coaching this roster, are you dumping Deshaun Watson in favor of Jameis Winston?
Well, I mean, you got to make something change. You got to make some kind of change. I don't know if you do it now, you know, because again, he's shown sparks and flashes, but he hasn't shown enough to merit the amount of money that he's been paid and the amount of acclaim. He has been a great player in the past, and it just looks like a shell of himself these last few weeks, last few seasons, really. But I want to talk about Jayden Daniels. He looks like a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Really looks in command, having fun. Wasn't as efficient this game. He was 14 of 25, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, and the interception. But he had 82 yards on the ground. Was really dynamic running the football, keeping himself out of harm's way. Just looks totally in control, totally relaxed. It's not like they're just winning these games, Mitchell. They're winning by multiple scores each game. And this is a Cleveland Browns defense that I have a lot of respect for. They have a lot of big-time playmakers. They have Myles Garrett. They have Denzel Ward. They have really big-time playmakers and players. And he had his way with them. I mean, he still has a 77% completion percentage on the year, has thrown for 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But the Commanders, just as a team, look really confident. I think his confidence is rubbing off on his defense because they're playing well, held the Browns to 13 points, held the Arizona Cardinals to 14 points last week. Dan Quinn can draw it up. I said it when he was hired. This is a great coach and a great motivator of men. And it looks like he's in the right situation with the right quarterback, the right coordinators, the right men who believe, the right veterans and Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner to really get these guys and keep them in line. And they're hitting on all cylinders. I said it on Thursday night. I think this team wins this NFC East division. And I don't think it's going to be particularly close. The Philadelphia Eagles don't look like they once did. They look like a shell of themselves, especially with A.J. Brown out, Devontae Smith out. They just don't have a lot of answers. That offensive line looks a lot more leaky than it did in the past, with Lane Johnson being out, with Jason Kelce not being in the fold anymore. They don't look like the same dominant force the Dallas Cowboys offensively. They don't have the offensive line that they've been known for the last decade. Defensively, they don't really have any identity. You know, they used to be able to rush the passer, but now DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR. Micah Parsons is injured. You don't know where that pass rush is going to come from. And even when they were playing, it wasn't a dominant attack. So I could see the Commanders winning that division and ruining somebody's season in those playoffs.
I'm right there with you. And you know, somebody you mentioned, we got to get him back on the podcast, is Bobby Wagner, your friend. How happy do you think he is right now that he chose Washington this offseason? I got to imagine he is absolutely thrilled with that decision.
Well, it was a lot of things that went into that decision, and people think, oh, it was just because they offered him the most money. No, he has the chance to go back with Ken Norton, who coached him with the Seattle Seahawks, who's an incredible friend of him, and they have an incredible relationship. And if he's going to, continue his career anywhere, it was going to be with Ken Norton. And then you talk about Dan Quinn and the relationship that they have. It was just a match made in heaven there in terms of the personnel and the coaches. But then you're winning ball games. And I don't think anybody expected them to be 4-1 at this point in the season. I'm very happy for him, very happy for that team and what they've been able to do. Happy they got the quarterback of the future. Happy for Washington. They've had some dark years over the past few decades. And so it's good to see that city have some hope and have a team that's playing hard and playing well and looking good doing it.